So my name's Larry, my dog is Angel. This is my new Kubota B2650. So I just wanted to do like a quick initial review. I've had it for a week now, and I bought it from a place called M&R Kubota, or M&R Power Equipment, who's a Kubota dealer. They're in Butler, Pennsylvania. They're northwest from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So if you're in this area, they do have a pretty big stock of Kubotas on hand. Sean, the salesman up there, he ordered this for me, and the reason we ordered it was I'd read online from a couple other Kubota owners. Literally, I found two that had interest in having larger tires than what comes on the B2650. So what the deal is, the B2650 comes with a smaller front tire and rear wheel and tire assembly. So the factory wheel and tire is, I believe it's if you want to break it down into truck sizes, like that's my dog, she's always barking. 37-inch high by 12 wide would be the stock tire. These are around 40 and a half by almost 16, 15 and a half. I think they're stamped 15 by 9.5 NHS. So what the deal is if you look at a B3350, they give you the option of clicking this if you go into the Build My Kubota. On the B2650, they do not. I talked to Sean. I told him these other guys had done it. One of the two guys had actually given me his dealership name and salesman who made this happen for him, because Sean initially didn't know you could do this. So Sean was able to put it together. We ordered it from Kubota. It came in after the first of the year. This is 2018. They got it together for me. I picked it up last Friday. I've got 8 hours on it now. I've done some snow moving and just generally playing around. I haven't had to use it for anything yet. But the tires really fill up the wheel wells a lot better and a lot wider. So the way that works is when they go to the wider tire on the B3350 wheel and tire package, okay, because it's a wider tire and they want to keep the inside where it is. So if you want to consider everything from the center line, the mold line of the tire, the rim itself, this part of the rim is sticking out 1.5 inches more compared to the mounting face of the rim. So that adds 3 inches total width to the tractor, just in the rim. Forget about the tire. Okay, then the factory 12-inch tire from this center mold line right here, which we've now moved 1.5 inches out with the steel rim, right? So now we've went from a 15-inch to a 12-inch to a 15-inch. So that 13, 14, 15. That's 1.5 inches. Okay, 1.5 inches from the total width of the tire. So what that does is that adds from the center mold line of the tire a little bit more width out past that 1.5 inches that you already got, right? Say total a little bit less than 3 inches, it's probably like 2 1/4, 2.5 inches. Then what I did is I had the M&R Kubota order the factory wheel spacers. So I put the 1.5 inch wheel spacers on. Now what that did for me was the advertised total width of this machine is supposed to be 53.5 inches. The total width of this machine, if you straight edge down, which I've done, both back tires, and then tape measure across, this is just a tick past 60 inches. It's like 60 1/4 inches wide. So I went from 53.5 factory width to call it 60 factory, or not factory width, but modified width. So I have a larger diameter, wider tire, spaced out more. I have them loaded with rim guard, which is somewhere around 400, 450 pounds of tire of rim guard. So it's I call it my stability build, if you will. The Backhoe, I optioned it with the Backhoe. The one thing I will tell you about the B2650, when you get a Backhoe, this pisses me off a little bit. It has a half-decent suspension seat when you look at a B2650. If you look at a cab version, it has even a better suspension seat. But they do advertise the B2650 as a premium tractor with all the bells and whistles that come with it, which is like your rubber mat, cruise control, tilt wheel, suspension seat, position control. Well, when you go to the backhoe, the suspension seat platform, the gray material right here, that all gets unbolted and goes away, and you get a turntable because the way this seat is, you have a T-handle right here. You pull the T-handle and the seat comes up, so now you have this. So you no longer have any suspension seat. There is zero suspension seat. Okay? You sit on rubber bumpers. That's all there is. When you flip the seat over, all you're doing is basically sitting on these. Now, what I did is I went and I ordered a set of heavier coil springs, and I put these on. And what this does is, these coil springs, the factory ones are super thin. I mean, like, you know, they're like big pen springs. You just sit down and you sit right down on the rubber bumpers. So I saw online where someone else had done this. So I got these heavier, much heavier coil springs, put these on with longer bolts. Then I had to jack this switch up with washers underneath of it and bend this bracket down to make up for it. I probably could keep jacking the seat up, or I'm sorry, the switch up, but I stuck an adjustable wrench on here and just tweaked that down a little bit. So that got that switch working again, so that if I stand up it doesn't stall. But now you're sitting on some springs. What I don't like about this modification is now the seat is sloped up in the back, so it's sort of trying to pour you off in the front. It's not ideal. I don't know if I'm going to keep it like this. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do. The other option that I have is I do have the stock B2650 suspension. I can take that suspension, unbolt this whole thing, leave it all together, unbolt it and bolt the stock suspension down, weld a plate onto the stock suspension, drill holes in it, and then reattach this. But what that's going to do is it's going to jack me up 4 or 5 inches. I don't know that I'm going to like that. You know, what Kubota did with this is really, I think it's really crappy how they took a premium tractor, they add a backhoe to it, and they remove part of the premium package. That's just craptastic. I hate that. So far, I had a BX25. It was a 2014 purchase date. BX25D is what it was labeled. I mean, I pretty much like everything about this better. You know, the size of it, the width of it, the power of it, everything like that. This thing is going to be so much more, just more everything. When you do this wider wheel and tire package, another thing they do is they have to take these 2 bolts right here out of the back of your axle flange, and they put a steel stop in here. And that's to prevent the wheel from coming in and hitting anything. It's not a big deal. I mean, I'm not out here trying to do figure eights as tight as I can. I do have woods and stuff, but I mean, 3-point turn, you can back up. The one thing that I didn't realize how much I would really appreciate is that position control. On the BX, when you have the lever in, I'll call it the neutral or the home position, when you you look back, you have your box blade or your rear blade, whatever, and you want to drop it, you have to either, like, super baby that thing and try to find when the valve's just starting to crack, or it just slams everything right off the ground. It just free falls. So the position control, I kind of knew what it was, but I had never used it before, and I think any of your bigger tractors, I would believe, are going to have position control, but this is my first time. I'm kind of new to tractors here in the last 6 months. So having the position control, putting the 72-inch grader blade behind me to move snow, suddenly I'm not just slamming the thing off the ground or jerking it up into the air. I'm slowly rolling it up and down, and if I'm starting to pick up gravel, I just tweak it a hair bit, and I can pick it right up a little bit and stop pulling the gravel, and it's beautiful. I love that. I also like on this newer tractor compared to the BX that this has a 2 items visually for you to look at for the bucket level. So how that works, there's a tab mounted right here on the right hand arm. And that tab, there's two tabs. There's one that's permanently welded to the arm and one that moves as you move the bucket. If you have them side by side, if you adjust it correctly, if you have them side by side, the bucket is at ground level at the same flat ground as the tires. That will be level, okay? Now, as you follow that rod back, there's a orange tube, and the end of the rod comes in or out of that tube as you curl and uncurl your bucket. So with the tractor on level ground, bucket sitting on the ground, bucket setting level on the ground, you want to adjust the end of that tube to match the shape of the bar that you see, while you're also adjusting this tab to align with this tab, so that when you're sitting in the tractor, both should be in perfect alignment with the bucket laying flat on the ground. Now, what happens is, as you pull on your joystick to pick up into the air, as you pick up into the air, there's a natural rotational motion here, and this will stay where it is in alignment. Even though the bottom of the bucket that started out down at the ground level is flat, it will curve up and it will be pointing up into the air. But what this system does, by looking at the end of the rod where it comes out of the orange tube, if you have that aligned, as you are raising your load in your bucket, look at the end of the rod and keep the end of the rod even with the end of the tube, and you will level the bucket as you're going up into the air, and you will level the bucket as you're coming back down to the ground. So using the two things, you can always find your bucket, I'll call it zero, your zero with the ground, right? So that's cool. I like that a lot. The BX doesn't have that. The BX just had a sticker on the top of the bucket that said, "Look here, idiot." Backhoe comes on and off just as easy on this as it does the BX. Takes about 4 minutes off or 4 minutes on. I did do that skid steer quick attach. I have a third set of hydraulics here with a remote on my joystick, the Kubota third function. I'm going to get a everything attachments, what do they call it, the Wicked Root Grapple 50-inch, I believe it is. So I plan on getting that this spring whenever it's actually time to start using the tractor. I have the thumb on my backhoe back there. So they don't do a hydraulic thumb, they do only a mechanical thumb on the B2650 for whatever reason. I think it'll be fine, but if it's not, if I decide I don't like it, then I could easily modify that, add another set of hydraulics, and go with a hydraulic. One thing that they did do that was kind of odd is when the backhoe ships from Kubota, okay, the backhoe is separate from the mounting bracket, the subframe, right? So with the subframe comes a different set of joysticks for the remotes that do your controls on your backhoe. So when the backhoe comes from Kubota, it comes with the B26, the short ones. And I guess when you order this subframe for this tractor, which doesn't have a separate seat and whatnot, they also include a set of much taller, and they also angle towards the front of the tractor. They angle that way. A set of new rods coming up out of your remotes, because this seat, when you lift it up, rotate it, and latch it back down in the back position, it's not as far back as the seat on a B26 would be. The B26, the whole back goes back further, but it has its own dedicated seat. So with the B26, it doesn't have to have the longer up into the air and the reaching towards the front of the tractor to get to you on this seat. This one needs it. I did not have that. I just got them today from Sean up at M&R, and I swapped them out. It took 15, 20 minutes, whatever. Not a big deal. They came, and the guy that was putting this tractor together didn't think that it needed that, but whenever I was pissing around a little bit in the snow, I realized that something's not right. And called up the M&R, and they said, "Oh yeah, he's got them in the back." So I went up, picked them up this morning, and I have them on now. So far, I don't have any dislikes for the tractor. And another cool thing that I don't know if any of you people with BXs, the roll bars on these Kubotas are, at least in this sort of B series. I don't know about going up into L's and M's and whatnot, but they're all the same size. So they have this bracket on the B2650 that holds the factory toolbox, right? Now, here's the cool part, and I never realized this. This just goes on with a couple U-bolts. You can go to Kubota and order this. You don't have to fabricate anything. And you can bolt this onto your BX or your B whatever, and you can go buy a 50 cal ammo box, drill holes into the bottom. They have welded nuts right here, and get your metric bolts and bolt in from inside of your ammo box, and you could have your 50 cal ammo box on the side of your B or your BX or your L. You could buy two, and all you'd have to do is cut these two welds right here off, flip the other one the other way, and I'm actually going to do that, I think. And I'm going to end up with a 50 cal here and a 50 cal over there. using that factory bracket. I'm not going to piss around making something if Kubota's already done it for me. The little toolbox they have here, I mean, this is great and all, but it's real small. It doesn't fit much. All I have in it is a head cover for cold weather. Trying to think what else there is about this thing. I did do the upgraded 3-point, the telescopic arms, and I did the ratcheting tilt adjust, so I do have that I ordered when I ordered the tractor. The only thing I said, I don't have anything I don't like. The seat I don't like. I'm not happy about that. I mean, I don't think you should sell somebody a premium tractor and then remove the premium feature when you buy the backhoe. I mean, Kubota's probably got a room full of engineers somewhere that if you put them on this and you said, I want a rotating seat, I want a seat on a turntable, but I want a suspension system under it, a team of engineers should be able to come up with this pretty easy. I mean, we go to outer space. We have nuclear power plants around. We have all this shit that we create as humans. You tell me we can't make a rotating suspension seat? Unacceptable. But I'll have to come up with something on my own. Trying to think. There's nothing really that I could say that I'm unhappy with. I have 8 hours of pissing around with it, and I'm happy with everything I've seen or done with it. It's a $28,000 package as it is, and right now I feel I bought something that's going to last me hopefully the rest of my life. That $28,000 seems like a lot today, but 10, 15 years from now I'll look back on it and think nothing of it. And I think it's a good purchase, and I think Kubota builds a good product. Do I think it's like necessarily the best? I don't know about the best. I mean, I was considering a Coyote also. I looked at John Deere. I wasn't digging the price of a John Deere, so that was kind of out. But I think Kubota's up there, as one of the best. The one thing I think about Kubota is 15 years from now, it may be a lot easier to find replacement pieces and parts if you need them for a Kubota, because I'm kind of the impression, I feel that like John Deere and Kubota and possibly even New Holland / LS, there's probably more New Hollands, John Deere's, and Kubotas sold than everybody else combined. That's my opinion. So I think that the used parts supply will always be there, and I think that the new parts supply will be many, many years further out before it dries up than most of your other tractors. The only tractor that I absolutely would not look at was Mahindra. I have a strong disliking for the brand. I hang out on that tractor by net forum, and it's like the one repetitive theme I see on these posts is that you see, hey, I have a problem with my Kubota, I have a problem with Mahindra. Oh, hey, that guy has a problem with a Massey Ferguson, that guy has a problem with Mahindra. This guy has a problem with LS, that guy has a problem with Mahindra. The Mahindra just keeps popping up problems, electrical, this, breaking that, cracking that, leaking here, engine there. The Mahindra just keeps popping up too much, so I don't want anything to do with them. To me, they're the Kia of tractors. I don't want to buy the Kia of tractors. So that's it. I mean, I'm going to do some video this year as I play around with this thing some, and I have a bunch of logging roads out here. We have 14 acres, and this was logged 25, 30 years ago, and all the logging roads have been just erosion over the years, and there's a lot of work needs done. We also have a camp area down at the far end of the property. It's down in the valley there. So that camp area, I started last year with the BX leveling out, taking dirt from the high side of the hill, pulling it down and pushing out in a nice level area. And I want to continue along that path. We're talking about doing a garage here. There's going to be some dirt moving for that. Instead of paying somebody who would come in and do it fast with an excavator, I could do it slow and have fun and use this, and I could do a whole bunch of other stuff around here. I look forward to having the tractor as a long-term tool that I can play with and do anything that I want to do. Sort of like I bought a Yamaha Rhino 2007 when they first came out in fall 2006. I've had that this will be the 12th year, and my wife thought I was nuts spending $12,900 on a Yamaha Rhino 12 years ago. Since then, I've put a CV boot on it and changed the oil a few times. That's it. Batteries. You know, that's it though. I mean, the Rhino has hauled wood, pulled trailers, pushed broken trucks, done everything I've needed to do out here, and I've never had a lick of trouble with it, other than I had a boot that I had a stick go up in it and rip the CV boot, and luckily I saw it and I ordered it and replaced it. Didn't have to change a shaft or do anything like that. So, if this is as reliable as my Yamaha Rhino, I win. My son will probably have this when I'm dead and gone. Hopefully, maybe his son will have it after him. Who knows? But yeah, Kubota B2650. So far, excited for the year coming up to see what I can do with it, and get my grapple this spring and be able to do some work around this property and fix some roads down here in the woods and change my camp. And there's just all kind of options. And I already have friends and people that I know that are telling me they have work that needs done. They want to know, am I interested in doing a little bit of work on the side? So that's going to be the next thing that we start looking into, is becoming registered contractors, getting liability insurance, figuring out all the hoops we got to jump through before we can think about putting this on a trailer and going over to somebody's property and doing work and accepting the liability that comes with it in today's litigious world. So that's something that we're going to be examining as we go forward, and seeing what we have to do, what we want to do, and how we want to do it. So potentially there may be a little bit of money made with it. Then maybe that'll lead into something else. Who knows? I don't know. We'll see what happens. Maybe one day I'll have an excavator too. All right. Do me a favor, like my page on YouTube and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and that way as I put other videos up, be it Kubota or shooting guns or who knows what I get myself into, maybe you want to check them out too. I can tell you that right now, January 2017, I am not monetized on YouTube. I do not make money. So I'm not telling you to like and subscribe because I'm trying to pull money out of your activity. Maybe later on I'll decide to do that. I don't know. I'm not sure what it exactly involves or how it's done. But if I start to get views, maybe I will look at that. So thank you very much, and enjoy your Kubota and be safe.